the 2016 Fighter of the Year. TheFightJournal.com Fighter of the Year. Let's go over the nominees. First up is Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. Now, Chocolatito had his knockout streak end at 10 earlier in 2016 as he won decisions over McWilliams Arroyo and Carlos Cuadras. Now, there were some weight issues in the Arroyo fight that led him to move from flyweight to super flyweight. However, he dominated Arroyo, who should be given credit, no matter weight issues or not, for surviving Chocolatito's assault. Now, then he moved up. And so in his first fight at Superfly, couldn't resist Superfly. Super flyweight, Chocolatito did what only the great ones do. He jumped up and immediately fought the WBC #1 guy and arguably the #1 super flyweight, Carlos Cuadras, in a Fight of the Year candidate. You don't find people, especially these days, who do that. So, got to give it up to him. He won his, I believe it was his fourth, a title in his fourth different weight class. Next up is Terence "Bud" Crawford. Now, Crawford began 2016 with a sensational stoppage of Henry Lundy, aka Hank Lundy. He used his jab on a smaller Lundy throughout most of the fight, and he landed a left in the 5th round that wobbled Lundy and sent him to the ropes. And then a follow-up barrage dropped Lundy. It was actually another left that against the ropes that dropped him. And Lundy was game. He got up, but Bud finished him with a lightning fast flurry, causing the referee to jump in. Then in July 2016, Crawford fought a unification showdown with Viktor Postol. In this fight, Crawford, he fought most of the fight southpaw, and he just was too quick for Postol. He dropped the Iceman twice in the 5th round, and then in the final quarter of the fight, you got the feeling that if Crawford would have just stepped on the accelerator and pressed the action, he could have got the stoppage. But Bud chose to coast to a decision win, which set the record straight as to who the king of the junior welterweight division was. And then later on, earlier this month, he fought Johns Molina Jr., and which wasn't much of a contest. He took Molina out. So some solid names on Crawford's resume. Next up, we got Vasily "High-Tech" Lomachenko. And Loma, just like Gonzalez, he took on a champion in his first fight, moving up to a new division. In June, he stepped up to fight Roman "Rocky" Martinez for the WBO World Super Featherweight title. And Loma delivered a message for those who have been critical of his amateur style, becoming the fastest to win a title in 2 divisions with a spectacular knockout of Rocky Martinez. It was a big left uppercut and right hook combination that closed the show. Then in his next fight, he took on fearsome, undefeated knockout king Nicholas the Axeman Walters. And in that fight, Lomachenko pitched a 7-round shutout using boxing dexterity just fantastic footwork, skill, you name it, to force Nicholas Walters, the fearsome Nicholas Walters, to quit. There's no, to me, you can talk about somebody stopping someone, you can talk about a critical beatdown, but when you force a man with just boxing dexterity, boxing science, boxing skill to quit, someone with the credentials coming into the fight and reputation coming to the fight, such as Walters, it's very humbling. Next up is Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. Manny began 2016 in April with a convincing win over longtime nemesis Timothy Bradley Jr. He scored a few knockdowns and won his most convincing fight against Bradley, who was coming off a knockout win over Brandon Rios. A short hook dropped Bradley in the 7th round, and then a nice counter left hand in the 9th round dropped Bradley as he did that little reverse somersault, for those who remember that fight. And Manny Pacquiao won 116-110 on all scorecards, putting his trilogy with Timothy Bradley Jr. to rest with a convincing win. Later in 2016, Pacquiao fought the dangerous Jesse Vargas. And as Floyd Mayweather Jr. watched ringside, Pacquiao gave him food for thought as he dominated Vargas. Notwithstanding the 114-113 Dave Moretti card, of course, which, yes, that Dave Moretti, you know about his history with another fighter whose name we won't mention, but if you were listening, whose name we already mentioned. So a straight left hand dropped Vargas in the 2nd round. Vargas got up, but Manny's speed and angles were just too much for Vargas to overcome. Now, Vargas did land his share of shots. Some of them were power punches that kind of knocked Manny off balance. But in doing so, he was cut over top of his right eye for his troubles. So there's a price to pay, and Manny made him pay it. In the fight, Manny landed 36% of his punches to only 19% for Jesse Vargas. So with 2 dominant wins in 2016 over solid opposition, it's just what the doctor ordered for Manny. So with that, I'll say see you in 2017 for the Mayweather rematch. I think Manny's earned it. When you beat Timothy Bradley the way he did at his age, and you beat Vargas just as dominant, if not in more dominant fashion, he had a great 2016. Great comeback for Manny Pacquiao. Next up is Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua steadily climbing the charts of respectability, and he had a great 2016. In April, he became the new IBF World Heavyweight Champion with a 2nd round knockout of Prince Charles Martin. The knockout not only crushed Martin physically, but it may have even caused mental damage to Martin based on the series of videos he's appeared in on YouTube. And I'll leave one of the videos below, a little sample clip. But something's going on mentally with Prince Charles Martin, and you need to keep an eye out for that guy. Joshua followed up the Martin win with his first title defense against another young, undefeated Olympian in Dominic Breazeale. Now, Joshua, who was an Olympic gold medalist, in Breazeale, who at one time was ranked the #1 U.S. amateur, they squared off in June. Now, the fight started slowly as Joshua had to deal with Breazeale's reach, height, and weight advantages. And in the 2nd frame, Joshua sent Breazeale reeling with a right hand and a follow-up that almost caused the fight to be over. Brazil hung in there, and he fought back in the third round. But by the fifth round, a huge left wobbled Brazil. He was able to make it out of that round. However, in the seventh round, Joshua landed a flurry to drop Brazil. Brazil was able to get up, but he was knocked down again seconds later for the referee's stoppage. Now Joshua ended the year with his second title defense, this time against Eric Molina from the Deontay Wilder fame. Now you know how Molina gave Deontay Wilder a lot of trouble. As a matter of fact, he gave Wilder much more trouble than he did Joshua. As a matter of fact, Molina was no trouble at all for Joshua. Molina entered the fight with the wrong game plan, which basically was to look to land something big. And if that truly was the plan, as suggested, Molina never gave a strong effort to do that. In the third round, Joshua sensed it was time to get Molina out. He stepped up the aggression, landing to the body, throwing combinations. Molina followed up with a few jabs and attempted to land a big hook. He missed. Joshua landed a whopping right hand that dropped Molina, who kept his guard high, but kind of turned away from seeing the punch, and he got caught. And Molina went down hard, but he got up, to his credit. Shortly thereafter, Joshua landed some brutal punches against the ropes. A left hook started the damage, followed by a left hook, right hand, double left uppercut, and that was it. The brutal assault was over. So a world heavyweight title was won in 2016 by Joshua, and 2 title defenses in the same year for a 27-year-old who was only 18-0, all 18 by knockout. That's a big year. So the world may soon be Anthony Joshua's. I'm gonna leave a clip of the below. I'm gonna leave a clip of the slow motion replay of the knockdown, as well as the knockout of Molina, and these were some vicious shots he got caught with. Joshua was kind of, as muscular as he is, he's a little, I can't explain it. You look at a muscular guy and think of Holyfield, but then he's 6'6". And so sometimes when he punches, it looks a certain way, but then when you look at the replay, which you'll see in this video below, those are some brutal shots Molina took. Now, some other fighters under consideration for Fighter of the Year. You got Joe Smith Jr. He beat Fofana and, of course, Bernard Hopkins. You have Errol Spence Jr., who beat Leonard Bundu, as well as Chris Algieri. And you got Jamal Charlo, who had a big win over Julian Williams, as well as he also beat Austin Trout. So who's the winner? Well, the 2016 Fight Journal Fighter of the Year, the Jackal, Carl Frampton. Carl the Jackal Frampton. You know, on Carl Frampton's upper right chest, there's a tattoo, and it reads, Vini, Vidi, Vici. And that phrase is it's a Latin phrase for I came, I saw, and I conquered. And in 2016, this road warrior did all of the above. He came, he saw, he conquered. In February, the IBF World Champion took on WBA World Champ Scott Quigg in a super bantamweight or junior featherweight unification bout in Manchester. Now, Frampton was making the third defense of his IBF belt. Quigg was making the seventh defense of his WBA title. Quigg was 31, 0-2, and Frampton was 21-0. Two champions, two undefeated. Something had to give, and it turned out to be Scotty Quigg's jaw, as the Jackal, Carl Frampton, fractured Quigg's jaw during the first half of their unification bout. Now, while the official scores declared the fight a split decision, it was a dominant display by the Jackal. Frampton used speed, he used feints, and power to outclass Quigg. Now, everyone blames Quigg for starting out too slow and giving away the early rounds. Me, I blame Frampton for being too good and causing Quigg's slow start. The angles and hooks kept Quigg just enough off balance to win rounds for Frampton. Quigg made a late push, but by then he'd given away too much in the early portion of the fight. I credit Frampton with that, as opposed to blaming Quigg. And even when Quigg did find success, you always had the feeling that Frampton was in control of this fight. So, Carl the Jackal Frampton became the unified WBA and IBF World Super Bantamweight or Junior Featherweight champion. Later in the year, Frampton went on across the English Channel, across the pond, the Atlantic Ocean, the English Channel, to the United States to face another undefeated champion in Leo Santa Cruz. This time, Frampton, just like Chocolatito, did what only the great ones do, just like Lomachenko. He moved up to super featherweight, or junior lightweight, to fight Santa Cruz, who was 32-0-1, and who was making his third defense. Frampton had to overcome two things in the fight. First of all, Santa Cruz's phenomenal punch output. That's the first thing. Secondly, his 7-inch reach advantage. Let me say that again. Santa Cruz had a 7-inch reach advantage on Carl Frampton. It was a great fight, with each guy having multiple moments throughout the battle. Santa Cruz threw over 1,000 punches, but it was Frampton's controlled distance, his left hooks, and his power shots that won the fight. Very rarely are you going to outpunch Leo Santa Cruz, which Frampton didn't do. However, the percentage landed wasn't what I think Santa Cruz was gunning for. So, and that speaks to Frampton's defense. Don't get me wrong. Frampton was caught with his fair share of shots, but he controlled the distance. The left hooks were devastating. The power shots were there for him, and it was a clean victory for the FightJournal.com's 2016 Fighter of the Year, the Jackal, Carl Frampton. We're going to come with the worst decision of the year we're going to come with the fight of the year, and we're going to come with the knockout of the year in separate videos. We may combine, actually we'll combine the robbery or worst decision of the year with one of those. So we'll do maybe two, maybe three more videos, as well as one with just a sneak peek at some good stuff that's already lined up for 2017. So check us out. I have to have a tooth extracted tomorrow, so I don't know when the thing is going to clot and how I'm going to feel and so on and so forth. So it may be a couple of days before I do release the other videos, but I'll do those and send them out, and hopefully all before January 1st. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at The Fight Journal. Make sure you go to our website, thefightjournal.com. Now, with the knockout of the year, as well as along with this, go to thefightjournal.com, and I will embed all the videos, all the knockout video nominees, as well as some of the things I mentioned here, the slow motion knockout with Anthony Joshua and so on and so forth. In the Charles Martin video, I will embed them on the website. So if you go there, you won't have to go to the bottom of this video and then select one video and then come out of it and then select another one. You can go on the website and just hit play, and then when you're done, kind of X out of that video, scroll down a little, hit play on the next video, and so forth. So make sure you sign up to our YouTube. We definitely want you to subscribe to our YouTube page. We're going to give away some money. Not a whole lot of money. We're going to give away some money in 2017. Have a couple of contests. Maybe give away $500 to 5 lucky fans, and then maybe another $1,000 later in the year, something like that. I'll spread it out over the year. But one of the requirements are that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you check our friends out at DPG Uncut TV, and make sure you stick with us for our knockout of the year, our fight of the year, and our worst decision or robbery of the year. Catch you on the next one.